Hey, welcome to today's show, the Cam and Otis Show. A dreary day in Colorado, 300 days of shine, and you know me, I'm counting. Uh, ain't getting it today. So shout out to my buddy Mike across the highway. 300 days of shine distillery, unpaid sponsorship. So love you, brother. Looking forward to seeing you again soon. Don't know why I went into that whole thing, but 300 days, it must be the gray clouds. Hey, what we wanted to do today was do a follow-up on our COVID-19. We did two shows back in March, a couple of weeks ago. I want to do this as part three with a little bit more focus on business, because what I'm seeing from my seat and my perspective of what businesses are starting to do is make their adjustment to this and starting to create what I call an interim normal, not a new normal, but an interim normal. So I'll toss it to you, Cam, because I know you've been doing some research, a little bit of forensics, which is a really interesting thing that we can do now because we're starting to get some data into this. So yeah, tell us about that 49er story.
Yeah, so just to kind of take a comment on the data real quick, the data on all this stuff is starting to come in, which means you can start drawing all sorts of conclusions, which means you can put on your tin hat if you really want to. You can definitely go down that route. We're going to try our best to stay away from that. But so what happened with the 49ers, there's this speculation coming out right now that basically on Super Bowl weekend, San Francisco was dealing with its first handful of coronavirus cases. There was a small amount of doctors at a couple hospitals that were working with their first patients. So on February 2nd, Super Bowl weekend, if the Kansas City Chiefs hadn't strung together those 3 unanswered touchdowns in the fourth quarter, the San Francisco 49ers Super Bowl parade would have, in all likelihood, been a super spreading event with hundreds of thousands of people congregated out in the streets, all passing the virus along to each other. This could have been a huge jump as far as the virus goes inside our country. And fortunately, Kansas City was about 6 weeks behind San Francisco on the curve we've all been talking about. Kansas City was 6 weeks behind on it, so they were pretty much in the safe zone at this point. So that's really lucky. So just there's your quick recap on the first tinfoil hat conspiracy coming out of this. So thank you, Kermit the Frog and the rest of the Chiefs, for doing your part to keep us all safe.
So what you're saying is Jimmy Garoppolo is a hero.
Oh, exactly. He threw the game on purpose.
He did. He saved his hometown. So well done, Jimmy. I mean, not the method I would have chose, but well done. All joking aside, it is really interesting now because we can start to look back and those of us who have been in leadership positions for our entire life practically like to look back and say, well, what could I have done different? Because if you do it right, the lessons that you can learn from studying the past, the infamous, those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it, and all the variants of that quote. But there's a lot of truth to that, because how can I get better? How can I make better decisions going forward, learning from what I did in the past? And I want to make a point on this, because this is a really important thing that I truly believe in, and the military does a 75% job, and they're really good at 75%, because what the military does is they do after action reports, and then they do lessons learned. So you after action report and hot washes and things like that, that's right after the event, talk things through. After action reports, more of a little bit written, formal, and then we extract those things out of the after action report and put them into a database. That's the 75%. What's missing is the 25%, the most important, and that's making it a lesson learned. And that right there is what we should all be doing, looking back from the president, from the World Health Organization, from the premier of China, la-di-da-di everybody, to include you and me, and what we bought at the grocery store, those things, looking back, and what was the decision we made? Did that work out best for where I'm at now? Okay, well, next time I'm going to the grocery store to do my twice a month shopping, well, your mom, Miss Suzanne, twice a month shopping for us. When she goes out there and does it, we've got a really good list, and we're getting better and better at that list. So think of the efficiencies that we're creating going forward. So it's no longer run to the Walmart, run to King Soopers, 3 or 4 times a day because, man, I meant to grab a bag of tea, whatever it is. Oh, crap, just ran out of coffee. No, we're starting to get better at it. And the same thing goes higher up. You do this in your business, whether you're in crisis mode or not. Why did we not win that bid with our proposal? And then again, the most important, the 25%, the last 25%, which is absolutely positively the most important, is making it a lesson learned. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it ain't learned. It's just a lesson. It's just it's a data point. So, yeah, that wasn't where I wanted to go with this, but man, you touched on a point that, I think is really important because we're damn good at collecting data.
Well, there's a few things off of that I'd like to say. First and foremost, as far as you're talking about the reflection and being, I think that's something, to throw back to last week's episode. It's something that ties into authenticity. You have to know your strengths and weaknesses in order to be authentic. And like we talked about last week, if you're authentic, those around you will be authentic and you'll perform at a higher level. So you kind of glossed over something that I'd like to specify a little bit more for folks is that there's 2 different ways you want to build that authenticity through understanding your strengths and weaknesses. And we'll start with the rugby example because it's easy. Is you can think about it right after the game, but I've been there. I know you've been there, and we've been there with players also. That is a very emotional state. You are still in the F that guy for tackle, F that guy for punching me in the face. Damn it, I missed that tackle. Oh, we could have done this. We could have done this. You're still in that woe is me phase, what I like to call your missed tackle mindset. Mm-hmm. The faster you can break out of that missed tackle mindset, the faster you can get into the second phase of reflection, which is the honest reflection, where you're looking at it saying, okay, well, yeah, I missed that tackle. He has about 100 pounds on me. And, I had a full running start and I was on my heels. Maybe it makes sense. Maybe I shouldn't beat myself up about it. Or, the more common one to take the punched in the face one is, hey, how many times do you get punched in the face during a rugby game? Is it that guy's fault? Does he hate you? No, no, no. That's the answer there. You get up, you keep going. It's just a game and we move on from it. You can have that reflection. What we use here at U of A is 24 hours out. 24 hours after the game, you can look back on it and you can really be honest about what happened, what you can do better, and what you did well. And that's the important thing there is looking at all those different pieces and then taking that info and, like you said, applying that data into lessons learned. How can we move forward from that? So,
well, I was just going to say that the 24, I think that's a great technique, but there's a lot to be said to capture some things when it's fresh in your mind and the emotions are still raw.
Yeah.
The trick is, the coach, in this case, talking about a sports team, is what do you do with that? How do you contain that? Because you don't want it to bubble up and be this continuous thing. You want it to be more of a raw emotion, immediate feedback that is fresh. But you also want to contain it so that it doesn't continue on. I know that you and Coach Duffy, y'all have that 24-hour rule, and that's a great one. I mean, mm-hmm. that exists in a lot of youth sports too, with talking to the coach and things like that. But there's also some things that we miss when we do that, when we don't do the immediate, step into the locker room. All right. What happened here? You spend 30 minutes. That's what we did in special ops. Mm-hmm. We finish a mission, we'd come back and we'd hot wash it right then. I mean, you're beat down, you're tired, you're hungry, cold, sweaty, depending on or whatever. All you can think about is hot meal and a shower and going to sleep because you've just been on an operation, right? But the information we collect when it's fresh and raw like that is essential to building on the next operation, building on the next lesson that we can learn and implement.
I think you're completely right. I think it really comes down to using both of those techniques, because there's so much that you can miss if you act like you shouldn't even think about the game. And I think that's one interesting thing, and I'll kind of expand on this. I'm not sure if, maybe Duffy has this all the way thought through and he's just been hasn't explained it all to me. But as we're talking through this, it's basically more of 24 hours of processing it, doing that hot wash, as you put it, where it's 24 hours of me looking at what happened, being pissed off about it, being happy about it, whatever I need to go through, but still looking back on the game. Because even though we act like it's a 24-hour rule, like just completely forget about it, we'll think about it tomorrow, that's not really it. It's more of don't worry about it, I think, is the difference there. And really kind of giving yourself that time to reflect on it personally so you can make those improvements. I know for me, Sunday mornings is when I have all of the insights for my rugby game the day before. Doesn't mean I wasn't thinking about it last night or last evening while we were having dinner, but I just wasn't really putting the pieces together. I was still, in that missed tackle phase. I was still pissed off that I got in a scuffle or whatever it was.
So applying that to business. So how can we apply that to business? Because, we really, there are some emotional events and things that happen in business, but a lot of times it's small peaks and small valleys. And really, honestly, as a businessman and business owner, that's what I want. I don't want the emotional roller coaster like I'm playing. I've got a highlight on Saturday night because that's the game night, and then I crash and burn on Sunday, and then I'm coming back up. No, what I want little peaks and valleys on a continuous line that is on a slope, a positive slope. So when we're dealing with that, how do we translate this 24-hour period, the hot wash, the immediate, and then the 24-hour period into lessons learned?
So I think it's the same type of thing. I know I've used my the missed tackle mindset. I've used that in business before. Whether it's, I think the easiest example is sales. You get enough doors shut in your face. You get ran over enough times in a rugby game. You feel like crap, and it's hard to break yourself out of that emotional point. But you still have to do it. Just like in a game, it doesn't do you any good to think about the tackle you just missed. You have to get up and keep playing. Same type of thing goes for when you're working in the business world. Then if you take that loss, you have to take it on the chin and keep going, because no matter what, and especially to your point, if it's a smaller peak, smaller valleys, it's not as significant in the big picture to think you really shouldn't be dwelling on it. You should be pushing yourself forward and trying to take the emotion out of it. But just like we've said, you could still have that hot wash of, okay, what just happened? How do I feel about it right now? What kind of feelings do I have? Because the feelings, and this is something kind of important, I think we've kind of been glossing over. When you look at emotion, we say take emotion out of it, that's good and bad. Because when you're taking emotion out, you get this really calculative thing. You get your cold-hearted economist hat on, right? Where you can piece things together without any emotion. But emotion is something that exists. Emotion is something that's always part of the equation. And so you also have to have that emotional insight into, okay, well, why was I pissed off? What led me to feel that way? How can I feel better about it next time? And really taking that into perspective as well, just as much as you want your cold-hearted calculations to take perspective.
Oh, good. Well, I want to shift our gears a little bit from the lessons learned to get us back into our COVID part 3. And what I've noticed, and I think I may have touched on this a little bit, but businesses are shifting. I'm seeing if you step back and look at some bigger picture things, it's not just, HBO giving us more free movies. The advertising is changing. Yeah, I caught one this morning, the big furniture store around here, American Family Furniture.
American Furniture Warehouse.
American Furniture. No, is that what it is? American Furniture Warehouse?
Oh, yeah. American Furniture Warehouse with the Tigers. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's it. Yeah. So what they did is they said, we're here, we're doing this. And they had pictures of their team, video of their team in the warehouse running forklifts and stuff. And I'm pretty sure that they're a non-essential retail store, so they're closed down right now. But that's the, hey, we're going to be here when things come back. When we're able to open up, we're here to serve you. Little things like that I'm seeing more and more of. Uh, and although there are still some, call it lazy, call it cheap, call it ignorant, whatever label you want to put on it, you know, people that businesses that have not adjusted their marketing plan.
Well,
Because
I was
I
gonna pop a shot real quick at I think it was a Toyota one I saw last night where their classic commercial is, "Hey, come buy a Toyota," and then now they have this 1.5 minute long commercial going around where they talk about COVID and how we're all in this together, and then it's still just, "Hey, go buy a Toyota." It's like, okay, maybe do a little bit more work trying to tie together your marketing, like you were saying for American Furniture Warehouse. Like at least they're tying things together and showing that connection that we all have instead of not even touching on it.
Yeah, because what do you see every time you're on TV or you're researching something and a video pops up and there's a group of people.
Mhm.
What's your first reaction? It's like they're not social distancing or physical distancing in my book. They're
Mhm.
not physical distancing. How dare they? That's dangerous.
Well, yeah,
So
it's weird to see people in movies shaking hands and stuff now. It's gotten to that point.
yeah, so that's okay when you realize it's a TV show. But I'm the businesses that are doing well and smart and are able to change their model and change their marketing plan and adjust it. Those are the ones that are going to do well out of this, because whether we realize it or not, that subliminal thing is sticking in our head. If it's the camera, kind of the flying around camera inside the restaurant, and you see all these people happy and celebrating, and it's like that that ain't right. And guess what? That's planted in my head that Billy Bob's barbecue downtown in Fort Worth, they're having parties and they shouldn't be, and that's dangerous. So now that's affected my decision making going forward in their marketing to me. And I am a sample, and I guarantee if I think that, there's 100 other people, 100,000 other people that are thinking that. So go
Yeah,
ahead.
and I think when you talk about the adjustments, I think this is really where it gets into something we've been talking about as far as crisis is half opportunity and half chaos. And when you're in this crazy situation that we're all living in right now, there are a lot of problems, which hopefully I can set you up for this. What are problems, Dad? Opportunities, right?
Yeah.
So you haven't taken enough entrepreneur workshops yet. Problems are just opportunities, okay?
Everything's an opportunity, son. You don't have to label it as a problem.
Okay. Well, problems are opportunities, I'll say that. And there's a lot of problems right now, and there's a lot of people with a lot of time sitting there to solve them. And this is why, kind of touching into whether it's making adjustments inside your business or making adjustments as a whole, I think this is why we're going to see this surge in entrepreneurship and those type of things, whether it's part-time social entrepreneurship or something full-time where they want to be completely self-employed. People have time where on their hands, time at home, where they're looking at all these different problems. And there's a lot of smart people out there, and there's going to be a lot of solutions. Just like you're seeing it in the big businesses that are able to make those pivots and make those adjustments, I think you're going to see just as many people over the long run that are coming up with the smart things just in their home and then applying them abroad.
Well, you have this opportunity, and what it is it's who you are. Okay, so you can be the person that looks at this. The last 2 weeks plus. Actually, it's longer than that now. I think 3 weeks. I should have measured my beard as the time. The sands of time or my beard growing, but I know several people I've talked to that first week they were like vacation, and then they realized, holy shit, this ain't vacation. This is real world stuff, and we've got to do something. And those are the people, whether you did it immediately or you did it after the first week or so, you make that mind shift and you realize that there is opportunity here and there's opportunity for me to create something. Whether that creation is make myself better professionally, taking some online classes, doing whatever, building a table, make a new coffee table for the house, getting more fit, whatever those things are. Those are the people that are going to excel out of this. And this just popped into my head. In the race car driving, you always try to flatten the curve because what do you do when you're flattening the curve in a race car? Is you're able to go faster, right? So if you're doing that and you're slowing down for the curve, you're going to miss the opportunity. You're going to get past.
Mm-hmm.
If you're able to flatten that curve and accelerate through this pivot, if you want to throw it into entrepreneur business speak, you accelerate through the pivot, that curve, man, you're going to leave everybody else in the dust. And it's just so that's where, I'll just tell you, that's where I get pissed off. It's like, quit your damn whining. What are you doing? Oh, okay. So you're a waiter and your restaurant's closed. Okay. What else do you do? Well, I like to go on hikes. Oh, really? So have you ever thought about, I don't know, designing a map, doing some virtual videos, putting some things together that can help somebody else, and just keep your mind creating? I mean,
Yeah,
you can
follow your genius.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing? Your muse? Yeah. I mean, you can make excuses and watch Netflix and HBO, all those free movies, because there's a lot of them, believe me. Or you can take this opportunity and come out bigger and better than everybody else, no doubt.
Yeah, and I think it's something interesting, and as we're talking about entrepreneurs like that it's about putting in that work and seizing the opportunity while it's in front of you, and creating that path forward. And that's something I've been experiencing with a lot of friends, and it's the same type of thing. A lot of people have been furloughed, a lot of people aren't working, and they're spending their time at home watching Netflix and playing video games. And I've taken that other turn, and it's freaking terrible. I could say it's not that fun, but oh my gosh. I mean, see, this is the great irony of entrepreneurship, though, isn't it? Because I am working my ass off harder than I have been for a while, but it's actually kind of fun. It's kind of fun to get in the trenches and do that work. It's kind of fun to create your path forward, because you create that certainty, you get that hope going, you get that faith, you get all that fun entrepreneur stuff. You can't start grinding forward like that. And I think that's what a lot of people are going to find during this, is that there's something there that you can do. And there's some sort of opportunity that you can take and move forward. There's a problem that you can solve, and it's just, hey, go solve it. Go start working on it. Go get out there. And, you're a bartender that's out of work. Okay, liquor stores aren't closed. Why don't you get making drinks? Let's get a new drink, huh? What's the next big drink? Why don't you go figure that out? There's all these different things. There's different ways you can do, different things you could do, but you have to stop yourself from getting in that negative mindset and thinking, okay, what can I do? Where is my genius? Where is my muse, right?
Yeah. Well, I just got to correct you. It's mixologist. Sorry.
Mixologist. Oh, yes.
Mixologist, yes.
I know a lot of bartenders. They just like being called bartenders.
Don't want to offend anybody out there that might be shorting me on my shot next time I'm at the bar.
In Colorado, you got mixologists. Down here in Tucson, I think they're just bartenders.
Okay, good. But, you made me think of something. So as a business owner, business leader, military leader, and follower, you know what I want? I don't want a doer. I want an entrepreneur on my team. I want a team of entrepreneurs. That doesn't mean when Candace's talking about, hey, being entrepreneurial, create something, do something, it doesn't mean you have to start a business. But if you have that mindset of, how can I solve this problem better? How can I do this better? Hey, that old fashioned, what if I did something just a little bit different, making that old fashioned? You know what? I could crosshatch mow my lawn. There's so many different things that are possible to do if you want to do them. And I can tell you right now, I the light came on this morning, and I did some math, and it was really hard on me. Today is the 16th of April when we're recording this, and Governor Paulus, Colorado governor, said 30 April is when the shelter in place is going to end. I was like, wait a second, that's 2 weeks more. 2 weeks more. When this is coming out, we'll be at just a little over a full week still to go. That's a lot of time, folks. That's a lot of time to sit on your ass and eat bonbons and watch Netflix. All right, sorry, this flashed into my head. This is old school Cold War stuff from the Fulda Gap, watching the Russians. Never me, but some of my brothers in arms doing this and getting made fun of by their platoon sergeants for drinking great knee high, smoking dope, and bad mouthing their country on the weekends. So guess what? This is a long weekend for those folks that are sitting around on their couch, wearing out their sofa, eating bonbons, and watching Netflix. Man, get up and do something.
Well, and I think kind of to go to your point there, this doesn't have to be to start a business. I'll take the really easy example of social entrepreneurship. What is a problem inside your community? What is a problem inside the rugby community? What is a problem inside the bartending community? What is the issue? Is it, hey, I've got a wild stab right now. It's probably talking with folks and getting around each other and networking and being social. Well, how can you fix that? You set up a club, set up a Facebook group where you have all of the bartenders in your local area get on and you guys have a happy hour every Friday night. Shout out the Mac Pub for their Tuesday, Thursday, Friday happy hours. Doing a great job with that, Dad.
Due to slow business on Tuesday nights, we've can't afford to keep the staff employed on Tuesdays. So just doing Thursdays and Fridays now at Mac's Virtual Pub. Just a little update there.
It's such an easy example because why not do that? And whether it's with your rugby team or with your bartending friends or your friends from the restaurant, get the bartenders and the servers and the cook and the chefs all together, whatever type of thing it is. Or even easier, you can be the social entrepreneur inside your friend group. Here's your little call to action. Why aren't you doing a virtual happy hour with your friends? Why aren't you doing a virtual happy hour with your family? There's no reason not to. We're all doing, I know you and I, we're both very active in this right now, but there's no reason why you shouldn't be doing that. And if you're not doing it, then and none of your friends are taking that step forward, you should be the one to do it and push that forward, because those are the type of things we need during this time. That's you solving your problem. That's you solving a problem. It doesn't have to be starting a business. Go start a freaking damn video chat. It's easy.
Well, let's bring this back to mom and pop shop business. Friends of mine own a business. I think it's called Eagle Engraving. Another SF brother and his wife own it, and they're shut down. Little small mom and pop shop. What can they do?
Oh, you're teeing me straight up for that. I wasn't ready for it. I thought you were going to have a little bit more there. Okay. Well, so I think the biggest thing we can look at is, and I don't think I'm going to directly answer the question, but I'm going to tiptoe my way around it and see how you like it. So I think when we're looking at the way we're shut down right now, obviously, I don't think we are not in a place, of course, and I don't think anyone really should be out trying to defy the expectations of your local government or anything like that. If you are not allowed to do business right now, you probably should not be doing business right now. But I'll use my magic wand a little bit as far as what the actual solutions should be looking like. Because and this is one of those where this is the economist answer, because it's a multivariate problem. It's one of the most complicated problems you could possibly draw up, because you're tying every piece of the economy together with this crazy virus that we don't fully understand and all the epidemiology sides of that, right? There's so much going on here. So obviously we can't expect people to have the easy answer. But what you're looking at basically is that you have your cost and benefit, right? What is the cost of not doing business? And that's what a lot of these places are seeing is, what is unemployment at? I think 22 million people filed for unemployment within the last month, something insane like that.
Yeah, but that's just, by the way, you got to do the math, because that's new filings.
That's new filings for unemployment are 22 million people in the last month.
Yeah, it's up above 10%. I don't know what the latest is.
So at what point is it worth you going back to doing business? And this is something that people have been doing, where they speculate, oh, well, we'll just start the economy up. Okay, it's worth it if we get people sick. No, it's not really worth it if we get people sick. That's worth a lot of money too. So again, multivariate problem. It's not black and white. What we're looking at there is, okay, what adjustments can you make in order to continue to operate your business, whether it's virtually, whether it's remotely, whether you are doing deliveries, or whatever kind of solution you have there. I don't know your business, but whatever you're able to do with that, and then go and do it. And make those adjustments necessarily. I'm still doing Opportunities Food Waste Solutions. I am bleaching my buckets like crazy because I don't want any of my customers getting sick, and I don't want to get sick. Take those precautions. Wear a mask when you're doing deliveries. All this kind of little stuff. It's not a black and white problem. There's so much gray area in the middle there where there's opportunities to be more successful, help yourself, help your business, and then, ideally find that happy medium that we would speculate for as economists towards the cost and benefit, where we're not getting people sick, but we're also not having 22 million new people applying for unemployment every month. Because that's one, and I'll get my 2 cents in on that real quick. That's not slowing down anytime soon. That's something that we need to be aware of, is that this is the ripples, the economic ripples throughout the national economy through different jobs. As people get out of work, more people are going to get out of work because those ripples are going to just keep going into new industries, and things are going to continue to have problems. So you have to look at it, whether you're a small business owner or a large business owner, you have to look at it as, how can I avoid going under in this situation? Because if you avoid going under, you're able to continue paying your employees, you're able to continue helping them, continue circulating dollars in your economy, and we're able to help more people in the long run. So I know I just went off on my tangent there, but that's really where you're looking at, is it's a cost benefit situation, and you have to be creative with your solutions in order to find that middle ground.
That's right. And the only way you can be creative is you have to be positive. If you get down in the dumps and you're woe is me, you're like every good business owner, you're losing sleep at night because you're trying to figure out how you're going to make payroll the next day, right? Every good business owner goes through those cycles in their business, no matter whether you got 1,000 employees or 2. But when you're in that mode, you can't create. When you're freaked out about something, whether it is, the doors are closing, the food is rotting, whatever. I saw something, Gold's Gym in Colorado Springs, 3 of them are closing down. Who knows why? I mean, they've had some bad business problems in the past.
We got a firsthand peek into that. About 12 years ago with Grizzlies?
Yeah, exactly. That may have just been a straw that broke the camel's back, sort of thing. They've had some bad business decisions in the past, and then it's time to revamp your business model. And that may be what you need to do. That may be the solution for you and your team, is let's figure out a new business model and pivot. And something else, and this goes into that vernacular that we always make fun of, is words mean something, right? And there's 2 phrases that are out there right now that I just despise. First one is social distancing, because it ain't social distancing, it's physical distancing. And I'll stomp on that until the day this is over and I'm released from the queue. Right?
One more time, Dad.
Yeah.
One more time.
Yeah, it ain't social distancing, it's physical distancing. Got it? Hear that, people. The next one is shelter in place. And this just popped into my head while we were talking. When do you shelter in place? When a tornado's coming, hurricane's coming, maybe an earthquake. You shelter in place for a short, instant period of time. We ain't sheltering in place. What the hell am I sheltering for? Is it raining COVID? No. No. What I'm doing is I'm keeping my family safe, I'm keeping myself safe, and I'm keeping my neighbors safe by staying at home. We are latching on to words that cause panic.
Yep.
Whether intentionally or unintentionally. And I'll tell you, in my opinion, since we're doing a hell of a lot of editorial talking today, the media world wants us to be scared because then we eat more, right? And I don't mean physically eat, although the bonbons come to mind, but we're going to watch more because we're scared. We want to know, oh my God, how many more?
That's one of those, I don't even think it has to be this big, like, ooh, the media's out to get. It's nothing like that. Just look at it so simply enough of what are they selling, and where, like, if they sell us fear, do they get more people? Yes. It's that simple. It doesn't mean these people are out to get us. I don't, it's people can go down that road, and that's not what this means. What it means is that's where their incentives are lined up, to go back to the behavioral science side of things. They have the incentive to behave like that. And that's it. That's all that's going on. And just look at it honestly so you can understand the situation there. Sorry to jump in.
Well, no, they're a business, right? Mm-hmm. And in order to be successful as a business, you have to sell your product. And how do you sell your product? You let people know about it. And how do you let people know about it? That's called marketing. Yep. And what makes successful marketing for news? big giant storms, big crises that are really upsetting and bring up this fear that we want to stay. Oh man, I gotta, it's almost the hour. So I got to catch the latest headlines, and
Mhm.
the president's talking, and the speaker of the house is talking, and all these sort of, the governor's talk. Come on.
Well,
Right. I mean, it's let's change the vernacular to positive. Okay. Let's change it. It's physical distancing, not social distancing. It's family time, not shelter in place.
mhm.
And if you're single in an apartment by yourself, call it
time
some quality personal time.
time to be a social entrepreneur and start some video chat groups with your friends and get moving forward.
Yeah, there's opportunity out there, man. I mean, but change the vernacular, change the words to make it positive, and you'll be amazed, because words mean things, right? So shelter in place means, oh my God, panic. I ain't panicking. Nope, I'm creating. So
Exactly. And, I think kind of added into the more long-term thing of this, one thing I wanted to get in and talk about a little bit is what I've been calling our technology jump that we're coming up on. Because basically where we're looking at, and it's easy for me to speak on this, maybe actually, honestly, and not even trying to make a joke here, you would probably be a better perspective on it because you've lived through more of the technology stuff. I was kind of, I grew up with cell phones, even though I'm 24, I still, not as bad as some of these kids nowadays, but there were cell phones then. But the interesting thing is that we were all inching our way along that adaptation. Wow, adoption, adoption still not the word. Adaptation. There we go. Adaptation curve as far as technology goes. All this stuff has been out there for a while, and we've just kind of been inching our way along towards adopting that type of technology. And I think what we're seeing with this is that it's getting a kick in the ass. Everything that is able to go virtual is going virtual. Now, if you were prepared for it, you will be successful and you will stay virtual after this is done. If you were doing a terrible job of it, you will probably go back to how it was. Or there's your other opportunity, solving a problem there. You make an adjustment, you pivot your business model so you're able to handle this. It's the same type of thing we've talked about before. People are realizing that they like spending time at home. People are realizing they like spending time with their family, like having flexible schedules, like not commuting 45 minutes in traffic every day. All these sort of things are adding up, and that's not going to go away. People are going to remember that, and you're going to wind up with this interesting, almost like a generational cut that you would get with things like, if you look back at history towards the Great Depression, of behaviors that are going to change drastically because of this. And whether they're lasting or not, you're going to see at the very least a chunk of generations that are acting that way. To take the example of people from Great Depression era, that the folding of Christmas paper. The folding of Christmas paper, that blows my mind still. I've met people like that, where it's like you grew up in a time where nothing was guaranteed and you could never throw anything away, literally anything. And so when you woke up on Christmas morning and you went to unwrap your present, doesn't matter how excited you were, you carefully unwrapped them and folded it back up and tucked it away so you could use it to wrap presents next year. That's big. We could be looking at, and I'll put on my speculation hat for a second, we could be looking at an entire generation of folks that fist bump or touch elbows instead of shaking hands. We could be looking at people who carry hand sanitizer everywhere they go, who don't go to sporting events, who don't go to concerts, whatever these lasting effects are going to be. We're going to be seeing a lot of that type of stuff because this makes people feel a certain way, and that fear isn't nice. And people are going to steer away from that fear with all sorts of things.
No, that's exactly what you got to do, and you got there. That goes back to the what I was saying earlier. Is we're in an interim norm right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is the way I'm putting it. We've been in this situation long enough. The family time, the highly recommended family time, the no large gatherings of people physically present, and that's become a new interim norm. Complete with the way businesses are marketing their products, and it's what will the perpetual norm look like? Although perpetual, as a relative term because things are always in a state of change. But sometimes when you're in the change, you don't see it, right? So what will that look like, and what will our culture look like going forward, and what will our businesses look like?
And
You know, and I'll jump back to the point you made about businesses changing to this virtual and the online. Is I got a good friend of mine who works with Bunker Labs as a veteran entrepreneur, nonprofit sports veteran entrepreneurs, and getting their business up and running. Man, their number one game was their social physical aspect, bringing everybody together for, they called it brew nights or something like that, and they did it monthly all around the country.
mm-hmm.
Can't do that anymore right now, but you know what they've done is they've completely shifted. They were talking about it 2 months ago, talking about how do we go virtual. Now they've done just what you said. This has become a catalyst event for them that has accelerated the decision process and their change in operations. And they're gonna blow the rest of these organizations out of the water by the rapid change they're able to make.
Which I think, just to summarize it, it's use that catalyst for good. That's really what you should be doing right now. This is a catalyst for change, whether it's in your personal life, the macro economy, the global economy, or just, locally. This is a catalyst for change, and it's on you to take charge for it. This is something you and I have been talking about in recent weeks. And this is why I think we have the entrepreneurial focus so much, is quit pointing your finger, quit playing Monday morning quarterback and complaining about things, and go out there and do something about it. Even if it's just making a video chat with your friends that you guys feel a little bit more connected, or if it's going and starting a business that's solving problems that all 330 million of us are having, or you figure out a new way to create a ventilator or, face masks, all that great stuff. Whatever it is, go out and do it. Go find that genius. Go follow your genius.
Awesome. So what'd you learn?
So I learned, because I've been using the physical distancing, not social distancing one. I had not heard you say the shelter in place versus family time. So I wanted to make sure I reiterated that. This is extended, highly recommended family time. And you're lucky to have it.
Yeah, it is. That's so true. I was talking with a professional coach buddy of mine a few weeks ago, a week or so ago, I think it was. And the season shut down and canceled and all those sort of things. And I was like, dude, man, just think about this. You got a 2-year-old and a 2-month-old. This is time that 100% you would not have with those two kids if the season was going on. What a great opportunity, right?
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about kids. The one that's been coming to mind with me since we all talked at our family, our virtual family dinner on Sunday. Oh my gosh, the luckiest people in the world are ones who adopted puppies right when they got sent home. Because that dog is going to be so well behaved. You're going to spend so much time training that dog. This is a perfect time to have a puppy.
It is. That's why all the shelters are empty.
Oh yeah, but hey, well then we'll get on our soapbox one last time. Those people better keep your damn puppies. Don't be those people. Don't be the people who buy your kids a Christmas puppy and bring it back in January. Okay, this is not a quarantine puppy. This is a life puppy.
Yeah, good. Thank you. And me, I learned that Jimmy Garoppolo is a hero of San Francisco. And you know what? Then they need to have a physical distancing parade for Jimmy Garoppolo and be thankful for how crappy he played in the Super Bowl. That's what I learned.
I don't even have anything for that. I'm just laughing.
Yeah,
That's great. Nothing else there. Well, thank you all for listening to today's show. Special thanks to our sponsors, MASH, Military and Athletic Strength Hemp Oil. You can check out recent episodes of The Cam and Otis Show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And check out a full archive at thecamandotusshow.buzzsprout.com. The Cam and Otis Show is also on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Thanks again. See y'all next week.